WA Police and the use of force. New concerns have been raised about the way police use excessive force after a report by the Parliamentary Inspector overseeing the CCC found only one of almost 400 complaints made to the corruption watchdog had been independently investigated. But while Police Commissioner Karl O'Callaghan says the number of complaints is not a matter of concern, he does believe the handling of at least one of the cases mentioned in that report poses serious questions that can only be answered by an independent investigation. I spoke with the Commissioner earlier. Commissioner, thanks for your time. The Parliamentary Inspector reported that 381 cases of alleged excessive force by police were referred to the CCC. Is that a number that disturbs you?
This is over a two-year period, and 381 cases is not unusual. All cases get referred to the CCC, so the CCC have a mandate to oversee all investigations of any type, and particularly excessive force investigations. It doesn't surprise me because police work in a very dynamic environment, and we do get lots of complaints made, most of which are unsustained.
Can we just look at one case then, the case of this law professor who alleges that he and his girlfriend were very heavily dealt with by police. Do you have any concerns about that case?
Well, I've had a look at the case only today because it's not one of those that would normally come to my attention, and that's been investigated 3 times by the police, and it's been overseen by the Corruption and Crime Commission as well. So there are 3 separate points at which police have conducted an investigation or tried to improve their investigation, and the Corruption and Crime Commission have also done some work. Now, the conclusion from all of those investigations is that the complaint is not sustained.
There were some questions raised about the CCTV vision that was to be used as evidence in that case. Now, the law professor received his own copy of that vision and it was stolen from his office at a university. Now, in a case where police are being investigated, that would be highly suspicious, wouldn't it?
Well, I had a look at the incident reports this morning, and at the time that was reported, nobody told the officer attending that they suspected police of doing that break or that theft. What was stolen was actually a hard drive and an American flag, and I don't know why that was the case, and it was stolen from a building which was unlocked and open to the public. So I wasn't so concerned when I saw that initially, but I think now we have quite a high level of public interest in this, and there's some accusations being made that I think need to be sorted out. My feeling is that I will very shortly refer the whole case back to the Corruption and Crime Commission and ask them to use their powers to investigate at least that aspect of it.
So is that based on your concerns about public perception or your concerns about the investigation?
Look, I'm fairly comfortable with the investigation. It looks to me on the surface, and I haven't had time to go into this in great depth, that the things that should have been done were done. The Corruption and Crime Commission oversaw that, they had another look at it, and they also said that they were happy with the way it was conducted. But I think because there's a high level of public interest, and in the interest of preserving public confidence, that it should go back to the Corruption and Crime Commission and be re-looked at by them. It is no point whatsoever in police re-investigating this particular matter.
Because there were some issues raised during the course of the case as it went through the Magistrates Court, wasn't there? I mean, the Magistrate made some very disparaging remarks about the police performance, at least as witnesses in that case. I think they said at one stage one of the officers, his evidence so lacked credibility and reliability that it should be totally rejected. Now, that's not the sort of performance you expect from your officers, is it?
Well, it's not the sort of performance, and that was also looked at. So immediately the magistrate had made those comments, that was investigated, and one of the conclusions that was drawn is that the officer who was giving evidence was very junior and very nervous during the proceedings. He was also facing senior counsel at the time. We were not able to establish, and the Corruption and Crime Commission were not able to establish, that there was any misconduct involved in the giving of that evidence. But I still think, because so many questions are asked, it has to be re-looked at and cleared up.
Well, one of those questions was about the WA police copy of that CCTV vision, because it had gaps of the incident, particularly where the man alleged he was being kicked and tripped and where he and his partner were being tasered. Now, that again raises serious questions, doesn't it?
Well, these gaps were raised by the complainant, but when we spoke to the people who own and run the CCTV vision, and that's not the police, they maintain that the CCTV is motion activated, and when it's motion activated it often stop-starts on the way through, so it's not a constant recording like many other CCTV systems are. That was well explained in the file, but I would expect that will be re-looked at if we represent it to the Corruption and Crime Commission.
Now, I'm mindful that this incident happened back in 2008, but I found curious the justification for the tasering of these people. I think the officer said that it appeared to him that the 2 officers who were arresting these people were suffering from fatigue and as a result of that were in danger of being injured. Now, the CCC did find that explanation suited the guidelines at the time, but that's a bit of a stretch, isn't it?
Well, the CCC said quite a few things, and one of the things they did say is that the complainant himself was not cooperative with the Internal Investigations Unit. So there are a whole raft of complex things that went on in that investigation that made it difficult to resolve. Ultimately, the tasering issue was looked at, and it was double-checked by the Corruption and Crime Commission. And bear in mind, they are the premier oversight body in this state. There is nowhere else to go, and they were happy with the way that was done.
How independent was that investigation? Because it was conducted by officers at Fremantle, wasn't it? And that's where the officers who were actually the subject of the complaint were based. How independent could that investigation have been?
Well, it's not conducted by officers at the Fremantle Police Station on other officers at the Fremantle Police Station. Each of these police districts has a district office. They have higher ranking officers there who are responsible for conducting internal investigations. They don't work on a day-to-day basis with the officers at police station level. Once that is finished, the actual investigation of the complaint, it then goes to our professional standards area. They independently investigate it, and it then goes to the Corruption and Crime Commission. So it has 3 levels of control.
The other thing that I had a question about was the fact that neither the CCC nor the WA Police, in the course of their respective investigations, interviewed the officer who used the taser. Doesn't that raise a question about how thorough that investigation was? Because I would have thought he would have been a key witness. Yeah,
well, I think that's one of the issues that I only found this out when I read the file today, that we have to ask questions about it, and is one of the reasons that I have decided to refer that back to the Corruption and Crime Commission so those things can be tidied up. And the Corruption and Crime Commission, of course, has special powers that they can use if they want to attack this investigation.
Commissioner, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Andrew.